All right. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining today's session. And this is part three, session three of the six webinar series that we have around UiPath Agentic Automation. Today's topic is architecting enterprise-grade automation agent. How do we create enterprise-grade automation agent and what are the best practices? So before we start, we wanted to share a certification program that is currently going on for UiPath community members. You can scan this QR code, you can register for this program, and you can also get a free certification voucher for the available uh, exam that are currently available. So I guess automation developer is already sold out. I think it's not, there is no vouchers available for that, but you can register and opt for other certification as per your experience and knowledge. So you can scan this QR code and register for this community certification framework program from your Path community. All right, and before we start, this is the Delhi NCR chapter UiPath WhatsApp group that we have, where we discuss about the upcoming events, and if you want to talk to any of the community member right directly. So we have UiPath forum dedicated for issues and resolutions and other updates from UiPath community. And if you would like to join this WhatsApp group, you can scan this QR code and be a part of the group where someone from the community can help you instantly. And you can also go connect with other members, other community members in this group. So this is the safe harbor slide, which mentions about forward-looking statements, that this presentation might have forward-looking statements as well. And this community, Delhi NCR chapter, is being managed by UiPath community leaders, UiPath MVPs and chapter leaders. And we already have few of the members from this community in today's call. And you're also encouraged to network with the speakers and other participants. You can share your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. You can feel free to connect with them and get to know them. And if you would like us to cover any topic that interests you, or if you would like us to cover anything specific around agentic automation, feel free to let us know over chat or on LinkedIn. We'll be happy to incorporate that in the upcoming sessions. And if you would also like to participate as a speaker and you want to share the knowledge with the community, right? You can reach out to us. We can help you arrange a session for that as well. If you have any questions, you can post it in the chat. We'll answer. We'll try our best to answer your questions as we go, and at the later section of this session. All right. So talking about today's agenda, so we are going to cover the components of enterprise grade automation, and which includes guardrails. We will go through what guardrails are, why it is important to have guardrails for safety protocol. And then we will go through the context grounding. We'll see the best practices. And then we'll have the if prompt writing best practices. So we already had a session on this previously. So the second session was majorly focused on prompt writing. So we'll quickly cover that in today's session as well. But for detailed information, you can refer the previous session as well. And then we will cover the escalations, why escalations are important for agents and how you can achieve that. And then we'll cover the testing and evaluation strategies. So all these components that you see are really important when you create an enterprise grade automation agent. We'll cover that briefly, and then we'll also have a live demo at the end where we will cover live, like what guardrails are, how you can implement it, how you can best use context grounding based on the scenarios that are there, and then escalations and testing and evaluation strategies as well. And then we'll have a Q&A open for any questions that you might have. And then we will also share a slide for the upcoming session where you can register for the next session. And as Pratik mentioned about LangChain agents, so we have a dedicated session on coded agents as a part of this series, and you can know more about that session on the landing page of this series, which Suhani has shared in the chat. And anyway, I mean, we will be sharing it as we go. All right, so quick introduction about the team. So we have Suhani as a host for this session today, and myself and Faz as a speaker for today's session. All right, so this is the 6-part series that we currently having. We'll quickly go through it. We already had 2 sessions. So today's session is focused on enterprise grade automation and how to architect them. And then these are the upcoming sessions. You can register for it. And at the last, we have a UiPath coded agent in action, where we will cover LangGraph, LangChain, and Python, how you can code your agent in Python. And then we'll also try to cover MCP capability as well. And you can scan this QR code to land to this page where you can register for each session individually. You will have to register individually for each session of your interest. And we'll see you in upcoming sessions as well. All right. So let's start with understanding what are the different components of a enterprise grade automation agent. And as we discussed in the agenda, so these are the major areas or components that one should focus on when creating any enterprise grade automation. And when we say enterprise, right, so safety comes as a priority, because whenever you create something for an enterprise, the security has to be the utmost priority. And that is where the guardrails comes into picture, where you can implement safety checks with your agent tools. What guardrails does is they provide you a capability within agent to escalate, to log a message for monitoring. You can block the agent action. You can stop the agent at particular point of execution if something uh, goes as per the rules that you have defined in the guardrails. Then you can also apply filter to filter out the data, sensitive information that needs to be hidden right from the LLM tool. So you can implement guardrails for that. And we'll see in the demo as well how you can use that. And the basic guardrails ensures that the rules that you have defined are being followed. And if not, you can trigger any actions out of these. You can also escalate it to a human for verification. And we'll see what are the best practices for that. So that is guardrails for you. And an example could be that if something sensitive information is detected, right, you can block the tool. You do not want to proceed ahead, or you want to filter it out and then share that information with the LLM models. And if you want to escalate something, if something is below or above the threshold value, so you can escalate it to human as well. So that happens to guardrails. And then comes the effective prompt writing, right? So as we already covered that what are the best practices for effective prompt writing in a previous session. And it's really important to define a clear and structured prompt, because that is where all the magic happens, right, for an agent, because effective prompt writing is the heart or the brain of an agent. So that is where you need to focus a lot, like what your agent is all about. Then you can use different formats of prompt, like there are few shots, chain of thought, JSON formatted, React, and so on. So you can use those uh, prompt formats or patterns to as per your use case, basically. We'll cover that as well in a while. And then a pro tip that is mentioned here is always start with the outcome in mind. So that is where you can start. Let's suppose you want to create an agent for any support team, right? So you know what would be the outcome, right? So based on that, you can start creating a prompt, and then you can take help from autopilot as well as you create it. Then comes the escalations. So um, uh, escalations happen through an action app. So if you're aware about the action center part, so you will know that an action center create an action task for business users or business owners to approve or reject or verify certain information, right? And we use that as escalation in agents. You can create an action app for that, and it will create a task for based on the guardrails that we defined. Or in case the agent is not certain about anything, it can create a escalation task. And dealing with escalation task is really important, and how you define it in your prompt and guardrails, it is really important to keep it as minimum as possible, because you do not want agent to create task or escalation for everything that it does not understand. And then the context grounding, and context grounding we covered in the first session, but we did not go through it in detail. But we'll try to cover in today's session about context grounding and why it is important for any enterprise grade automation. So basically, the context grounding give your agent a knowledge base for your business specific cases, or the use case that you're for which you are creating an agent, right? It gives a knowledge base around that use case. And it can be any Excel file and a PDF, image, text, a JSON. So it can be anything. And then you also have an option to have the context fetched from connectors, right? From integration service. And so we'll see which is best suitable for which use case. So you can either have it from storage bucket, and you can have it from connectors as well. So just to give you a high level idea, storage bucket we usually use when your the knowledge base is stable. There are no dynamic changes to it. Uh, you can keep that knowledge base or data within storage bucket in orchestrator. And in case the data or the knowledge is keeps on changing, it's dynamic in nature, you can use connectors for that, because the agent can get the information in real time using the connectors, which can act as a context grounding for the agent to get the real time data, real time information, and then make a decision based on that. Right, so we'll cover that as well. And then the last part is testing and evaluation. And this is the main part when, this starts as when your agent is ready for first execution, you can start testing and evaluating it. With this, we mean that whatever agent, whatever testing that you are doing, right, of that agent, you can add your results for an evaluation set where as you go, right, as you make it production ready. So whatever test or debugging that you have done, and the expected outcomes that you want from that agent can be used to test it, whether it's working as expected or not, whether it is production ready or not. And it is recommended to have at least 30 meaningful evaluations for an healthy agent. And there are different evaluators that are available, including LLM based, LLM as judge, exact match, JSON similarity, and we'll see that as well. I'll show you that where you can find it. And then the pro tip is to focus on the edge cases and realistic flows. And because creating an evaluation set is also comes with experience, so what should go to the evaluation set or for evaluation really gives you some confidence that yes, your agent is working as expected and it is all set to go into production. So these are all the key components of an agent uh, for enterprises. So let's cover these one by one in detail. So talking about guardrails, right? So guardrails are your safety protocol for the agent, and you can use these to define rules to control the agent behavior. That means you can apply the guardrails to the tools that you are using. So basically, we define the guardrails on the tools section. And what it does is, so there are pre or post execution guardrail checks that you can enable, and you can also force it basically if you don't know, if you want that tool to go through the guardrails every time it runs, you can do that as well. But in case you have specific rules, that let's suppose if something related to input or output arguments that are being passed to a tool, so if you define specific rules for guardrails, it can do that as well, or you can also enforce it for all the tool execution. So the benefit of using guardrails is you can escalate it to a human if certain conditions are met. You can filter the sensitive information if something is matching, something is not matching. So you can hide the sensitive information. You can create a logs as well, and that is used for monitoring purpose, for dashboarding, for reporting purpose. You can have a log created as well. You can also block the agent execution if something matches as with your guardrails rules that you have defined. So that will stop the tool execution completely, and the agent will further move with the next set of steps. But this is not recommended because the agent might not behave as expected if the prompting is not done correctly. Then you can also escalate it. We already covered that. And you can think of it as like if certain conditions are met. So you define the conditions, right? So as mentioned, let's suppose any input argument that you are passing to a tool is matching certain conditions, then take a predefined action. And that predefined action can be either create a log, create a filter, block, or escalate, and then run the tool. Then there is also a possibility to do a post-execution guardrails, that if something has come as an output from the tool, can also be uh, taken care by the guardrails. Right. So this basically help you control the flow of the agent, how it should perform based on the input and output arguments from a tool, and how it should invoke a tool basically. Right. So this is about the guardrails. And as mentioned, there are pre-execution and post-execution guardrails. So these are not enabled by default. You have to enable it. You have to add business rule conditions for these guardrails. And as mentioned, you can also force these guardrails for all the tool execution. If you do not have any specific conditions, but you want to always enforce the guardrails, so you can do that as well. But it is not recommended to do that. Right. So I hope you understood about guardrails. We'll see it in action as well as we do the demonstration. The next is context grounding and the best practices. So as we discussed, that there are two ways that we can implement the context grounding, either using storage bucket or using connectors. So storage bucket is used when you have a stable or standard set of documents which do not change over time or do not change that frequently. So you can have it inside storage bucket in orchestrator as your knowledge base to the agent. And in case the data changes, the data is dynamic and flexible, you can use connectors for that. So there are different connectors that are currently available. Not all the connectors are there as of now, but I think you will see more connectors in future as the use cases grow. So I guess some of you might have worked with storage bucket for context grounding and created index as well, but it depends on the use case. So let's suppose you want to fetch the real-time information from any CRM tool, right? You want to get the live records from it. It's best to use connectors because that will give your agent a live knowledge base. It can get the data in real time and make a decision based on it, right? You can also think of any support ticket status as well using maybe Zendesk or ServiceNow, any IT help desk tools, right? So you can get real-time information from that as well using connectors. So based on the use case, basically, you can choose which type of context rounding is best suitable for your automation or agent. I hope this gave you some idea around context rounding, what are the different ways of doing it, and why we do it. I think we already covered it. Like it gives your agent a knowledge base to make certain decision based on what it has been provided, and it can also um, train itself based on what it has already processed. So context rounding basically act as a memory for agent, uh, and it works on the principle of drag. So the pro tip for context rounding is, as you can see, the like choose connectors for dynamic content and storage bucket files for static files to ensure reliable grounding and minimized maintenance. So it's a pro tip. So based on the use case that you are creating your agent for, so you can use either connectors or storage bucket. All right. So next is effective prompt writing. So since we already covered this in the previous session, but we'll quickly go through it, what effective prompt writing look likes. And it's really important to define the agent's goal, because if you don't know it, you won't be able to create a prompt itself. So it's really important to create the goals, specify the goal of an agent, define the tools that you are using, and a response as an example. So it's really important to provide examples as well in the prompt so that the agent would know if something like this happens, this is how it need to react, or this is how it should need to give an output, right? So you need to make sure that it has that. And then there are some techniques on the prompt that you can use based on the use case. Again, what use case you are creating. So zero shot is for simple classification. We don't usually use it because it's for natural language uh, processing. And but in case if you have a really simple agent, right, you can do that as well. So depending on the use case, you can use the different techniques for creating the prompt. A few short, you can give some examples, some patterns, and that is where you can get a better output from an agent. Chain of thought gives you an option to give multi-step reasoning to the LLM models. So instead of giving it in one single uh, uh, prompt, you can have chain of thought as well. And then there are others that you can use based on the use case. And usually we use this instruction one where we have the agent personality defined, tone and guardrails are there, which is as per the compliance and security. It follows the enterprise grade architecture as well. So it's better. We generally use the instruction system user prompt type. But depending on the use case, you can use any of these techniques. So it's not always that you need to use this type of prompt, but if you have a really small or specific use case, you can use any of these. Let's come to the escalations and why escalations are important. So escalations happens either through guardrails or when the agent is not certain about something. And you can think of it as a scenario where agent thinks that either it needs some help from a human, so it will create an escalation task through action app, right? And creating escalation really helps to handle the sensitive matters where the the assigned person can review it and approve or reject, or there can be any outcome that we can define. And this is usually uh, implemented to handle the edge cases where the agent is not able to identify what to do and what are the next steps. Then it creates an action task for you. And you can also have it through guardrails. So we'll see it as well. Right. So these are some of the examples where you can see that where escalations can really help. So for example, can you help terminate an employee due to misconduct? So it's about termination of an employee. So it's not a best practice to let the agent do the autonomous execution and take a decision by itself, because termination with any wrong reason can have a big impact, right? So it's better to include a human for verification. So you can implement guardrails for that. You can have this defined in your prompt as well. And these are some of the examples where these are the edge cases where you do not want the agent to take its own decision, but rather than create an escalation task and get a help from a human. And as it goes, right? So smart agents know what they don't know, because if they know everything, there is no need for escalation. Then I think they can make a lot of wrong decisions as well, and it might impact a lot to enterprises. So that's why it's really important to create an escalation, let the escalation being created by an agent if they don't know anything, right? Something about guardrails that we were talking about, right? So if something matches, some conditions match, it's better to create an escalation task and not process it autonomously. And so as a best practice, before creating any escalation, you can think of it like what situations truly require human intervention. And these are some of the examples that we have mentioned here, right? So where you don't want the agent to take its own decision, right? And not every agent needs a manual check. That is also true, because it depends on the use case. We might not have escalation in all the agents that we see, but it depends on the use case. And it's usually kept for edge cases where you do not want to take any risk, right? Where you want agent to create an escalation task. So the last that we have in this is testing and evaluation strategies. And this is really important because once your agent is ready, once the development is completed, once the testing that you are doing is ready to be begin, right? It's important to do the testing and evaluation to make it production ready. And how you do it is you create evaluation data as you do the testing, as you do the debugging, and when you run your agent again and again. And when you see that the expected outcome is there, you can add it to a evaluation set. And that is where once you have 30 plus evaluation available, you can create an evaluation set. You can have evaluator do the run of your agent on all those evaluations that you have done previously, and then create a report or I would say an outcome, which can help you get some confidence whether you can deploy it to production or not, and whether it's working as expected or not. And you can think of it as like there's an input, right, that you have defined when you were debugging the agent. When you debug an agent, you provide an input to it, right? And then it works on that input. Then there's expected output. So when the debug is complete, right? So there's an output that comes, and this is what that's an expected output. That is what you were expecting. So there's input binded with expected output and an evaluator. An evaluator can be LLM as judge. It can be JSON similarity. It can be exact match and others, right? So combining all these three, input, expected output, and then evaluator, gives you a score whether your agent is working as expected or not. And it really helps you to make the correct decisions because you have tested it on multiple data and the expected outcomes. So these are the different evaluators that are available as a part of evaluation strategies you can use as per the use case. And if you're not sure, you can go ahead with LLMs just because that's easier to use. But depending on the use case, if you want to do the exact match, this is what you can use. So also there's an option to use simulations as you do the debugging, as you run your agent, right? When you do the testing, there's an option to create simulation. By that, it means that instead of executing those tools or those escalations, those contexts, right? It can do a simulation for that. Instead of actually executing it, it can simulate it so that it can help you save some cost if you are doing a lot of LLM calls and if you are invoking a lot of uh, tools, right? So you can simulate it. So instead of actually executing it, it can create a mock of it. Maybe you can think of it as a mock. It can simulate it. It can generate some test data around it based on the prompt that you have defined or all the other information that are there in that agent or the solution. You can simulate it, so that will help you save some cost. It can avoid API throttling as well. And we will see that as well, how you can use it and why it is important while testing and evaluation. Why simulations can really help you fast pace your testing. All right, so that's about the core components of enterprise grade automations. These should be there whenever you're creating any enterprise grade automation or agent. Now let's understand the demo that we will be covering. So in today's demo, we have an employee support agent where we will create an agent which will handle the support request from employees, and it can be related to IT issues, HR queries, facilities, any access issues around ERP systems, and it can be anything basically. These are the support requests coming from employee. So once you get the request from an employee, your agent checks whether there is a resolution or a support group available for that in the context, whether there is a team for that. And if there is a team, and it can also check for the issue, what the issue is currently the employee is facing. And based on that, it can take a decision. It can call a tool. It can escalate it if there is no support group available in the context, right? So it can create an escalation as well. We can also define some guardrails around if something is not, if something is matching, so criteria is matching, right? Do this or do log or filter out the sensitive information. And we'll have a CSV file uploaded in storage bucket, which will have all the support group details. And then the outcome would be that whether that the request that is coming from employee is resolved or not. If not, what would be the next step, right? So if the support group is not there, maybe it can reach the employee can reach out to the next or any other team, right, which is not a part of this agent. So let's see it in demo. Let's see it live, how you can do this. So I have shared my screen, and you should be able to see the agent that we have in here. Right. So this is the very simple agent where we have um, prompt defined that what needs to be done, right? Because we want to create an employee support agent, and this is where we have defined the goal or the persona of the agent, and then these are the steps that the agent has to do. Right? Identify the problem or request that the user is facing, and this is the system prompt that we are currently discussing. And we have also provided a reference to the context file, right? And the file name which the agent has to refer to get the whether the support group is available in the list or not, whether it is there in the team or not. Right, respond appropriately, ask for clarification message, and then confirm whether ticket is created or not using a tool. So we're not using any tool in here. We have a separate agent for that. But just to give you a basic understanding of how context surrounding which storage bucket works, you can refer to this. All right, so This is the user prompt that we have given, where we have the message from the user about the issues and the name, right? And then we have context where we have uploaded a support group COC file. Now, let's talk about, let's run it on cloud, and then I'll show you. So whenever you run it on cloud, you will see an option for simulation. So currently we only have a context, right, defined. If we click on simulate, it will not exactly go and look for that file in the context, because now we have enabled for simulation. It will basically create or assume the data by itself and then process it in the runtime. But we do not want to do it for this context because we do not have any other information as of now. So we want this agent to follow the context in order to take the decision. Right. So as you can see, we can also generate the data, right? So if we click on generate, it will automatically create a name and a message for us based on the information that we have already fed to the agent, including the tools, including context, including the prompt. So based on that, it can generate a test data for you. So you don't have to like uh, think of it by yourself. But if you want to test it or any specific data, right, you can mention it here. So as you can see, it is about SharePoint site for my team. Can you help with that? And I'll also show you that support file. So it has a list of the teams which are responsible for particular type of issues, right? So let's suppose it has Office 365. Let's test with SharePoint first. Let's see what do we get. So this will actually run the agent, and it will actually get the information from context, but because we have not simulated that, right? So this is the input that we have provided. The agent will look for the context, right? The information based on the prompt that we have given. And there's always a pre-execute governance and post-execute governance. So this is not the guardrails. For guardrail, we have a different log message. We'll see that in some time. And as an output, we get that this is what we have got, that the support ticket has been created for assigned SharePoint creation site, and they will reach out to you shortly. So this is what we have got as a response, right? So this is a straightforward agent. Now let's have a look at the agent with escalation, right? So how do we do it? I'll show you that as well. How do we create an escalation app? So we have the same agent, but this time we added one more um, rule that asks for clarification if a message is not clear, and use the escalation tool when a problem is identified, but no specific support group can be determined from context grounding. So it can use the escalation tool. That is what we have mentioned in the prompt. Similarly, we have added it in the user prompt as well, that if no support group is identified, use the general feedback and use the escalation tool. So we have modified it a bit, right? And once we run it, so as of now, as you can see, we have a context and then we added escalation. So now we have escalation, context as a part of this agent. Everything else is same. We added escalation and then modified our prompt to escalate it if it is not able to uh, get it by itself, right? The agent is not able to take a decision by itself, or if there is any condition which met the prompt, right, condition that we have given, it will create an escalation app for that. And how to create an escalation app is so there are two ways that you can create an escalation app. Either you can create it from the solution itself, from the studio web, you have an option to create an app, and it will directly add that app to your project or the solution in the studio web itself. And there's another way that you can create an app is using Action Center. And once you do it, you can deploy that app to your orchestrator. And once you deploy it there, you can see it under this section. and then you can use it in your workflow. And when you add an escalation right in here, you will also see an option in here. So if it is already deployed, you will see a already deployed action app in here. If it's a part of your solution or the project that you're working on, you can see it here, or you can see it here in this panel as well. Right? So there are two ways that you can create an escalation task. So when you do this, you need to also create action app. You need to create an action app for that. So in this one, there's a bug with the UiPath Studio as of now. As you can see, there are only two files, but when I click on it, it generates it, the action app for you. So this is action app where you can see the information that is coming from agent, and the user is being populated in here. And if certain conditions are met based on the prompt, it will escalate it to the user to verify it, right? So let's test it and then see how it's running. So this time, and so this is the previous version of, so also this is a bug. Let me just click on this again. So before it loads, right, if you click on the test on cloud, it will show you something else. So yeah. So now as you can see, so it has a message related to SAP, but we do not have any support group mentioned in the context related to SAP. So we can expect the agent to create an escalation task. This time we see two options for inside tools. One is escalation and another is the context. So we already had context previously. Now we have escalation as well, which will create an action app. If you want to simulate that, we can do that as well. So basically, it will not actually execute the app, but it will simulate that based on some synthetic data, right? So if I run this, if I execute this, we can expect the agent to create an action task for us because there is no SCP support group mentioned in that context file or the knowledge base. So adding an escalation app for cases where we want certain things to be handled in a different way, right? If the support group is not there in this case. So there was there is an issue with the app actually. But once you run it, right, so it will create an action app for you. It will create an action task that you can use to verify the information. You can pass this information. Check. So there is an issue with the action app right now, uh, but let's see how it goes with if we simulate it. And after this, we'll see the guardrails, how guardrails can be implemented and what difference it makes. So I think we'll skip this part because I think there's an issue with the app, and I'll have to again create. Well, we'll create it. Let's see how much time we still have. So we also have your path hack agent hack planned for today. Uh, it is scheduled to start in around 7:30 p.m. IST. So I hope we'll see some of you guys there as well. So this is where we have implemented the guardrails, right? So as mentioned, you can implement the guardrails in with tools, right? So the prompt is same. We have everything as we already had in the previous agents, but this time we also have a tool which basically it's a process deployed on orchestrator which can do Office 365 related activities or steps, right? And it takes the content, what it needs to do, right? As a which so basically, let's suppose it has like we want to create a support ticket, right, for something, or if we want to see whether the password is expired or something, it can take an action on that. So what we want is we want to implement guardrail for this particular tool. So if something with the input or output argument matches the conditions that we give, the agent will act according to the outcome that we will define in guardrails. So when you implement a guardrail, you will see an icon similar to this where it says that the guardrails applied for this tool, right? And as we discussed, right, the guardrails help to control the flow of the tool, how the tool is working, how the agent should react if certain conditions are met. And how you add it is you can just simply click on add guardrail, and you will see this screen where you can name the guardrail. Let's suppose if you want to specify certain conditions, right? Check for sensitive information or maybe so, right? Again, you can do description as well. Okay, so you have provided a guardrail that if something, so if any sensitive information is available in the input argument or the output argument, right? Let's suppose the tool has given us an output and we want that output to be filtered. We want to hide some information, right? We want to make it secure. We do not want to pass that information, sensitive information to the LLM models that we are using because it's an external LLM model, right? So we do not want to pass that information. So we can implement a guardrail to hide it or filter it. Or we have different options. I'll show you the action type as well. So in our case, we will be using filter, right? Because we want to filter some information. Similarly, there's option for block, escalate, and log. If you click on escalate, it will create a action center task, action app for you. You can define the recipient name, who should be assigned it to, and the action app that you have created. Let's suppose this, right? And you can also enforce this guardrail. That means it will always happen before and after the execution of tool, this particular tool for which you are applying this guardrail. Then if you skip this, then you have an option to apply for custom rules. So let's suppose if the field that is coming from the tool or the input argument that is going to the tool, you do not want to pass certain information to the tool, you can apply a custom rule for that. So as of now, we only have one input argument. You can check whether this string, because it's a type of string, then you can apply the string functions, and then you can check for the value if it contains maybe SAP, let's suppose. So if it contains SAP, it will create a escalation task for us. So that means whenever, so this will happen before executing the tool, right? Because it happens before and after. So it will happen before executing the tool. So if this condition is met, then it will do this, right? Or you can also always enforce this. If you do not want to apply any custom rules, it will always perform the guardrails and it will always execute this task, which is not recommended. But based on the use case, you can do this. So also you have an option to enable guardrail for evaluation as well. So whenever evaluations are happening, via evaluator, guardrails will be applied in that area as well. So that's a I would best practice, I would say, that will give you better confidence that how your agent is performing with guardrails enabled in evaluation set as well. Right? So once you do that, you will see the guardrails in here. So as of now, we have an guardrail to log a message if the string contains SAP. So whatever string or the content is coming from LLM model, if it contains SAP, so before executing the tool, it will do a guardrail check and then it will create a log message for that. So as of now, I think so there is some issue with my web studio web. I'm facing. I think you might see it in some time when I run it. So there's a signal R error that is coming. I think because it's a network issue or something. So I'll show you how guardrails are implemented before executing the tool. So we will have it in the logs as well, where we can see, as you can see, right, the tools pre-execution. For tools, there's a pre-execution governance and pre-execution guardrails as well. So this is what you can see whenever a guardrail is implemented, and then it can check for the condition whenever you are executing a tool. So this is about guardrails. Now let's come back to the evaluations, how we can best use evaluation. So let's again run this particular agent and then generate a new input for this. If I run it, so we'll have some expected output that it will create an ticket for OneDrive issue, right? And if the expected output is there, we can add it to a evaluation set. So we'll switch. So we got the output that a OneDrive ticket has been created for the support group. So once the execution is completed, once it is successful, you can add it to the add to evaluation set, right? So once you do this, and you will see the historical runs as well. So this is the latest one. If I add it to the default set, it is now added to the evaluation. Once you do that, you can go to the evaluation set and then you can create an evaluation set based on whatever evaluation you have added, right? You can see it in here. You can create it. You can create yours by yourself. You can import it. You can use generative AI for that, or you can use the default one. Uh, uh, so as of now, as you can see, the default one is there. And then also, as you can see, the evaluator is LLM as judge. And this is where you can define your evaluator. If you want to click on this, you will see that there are different evaluators that are available. So based on the requirement, you can create any specific evaluator. If you want to do the exact match, you can use this. You can use LLM as judge for semantic similarity. If you're not sure about something, you can use LLM as judge as well. So once you do that, you can run your evaluation set, and then you will see the result, how many, how your agent is performing, and what is the accuracy rate, right? So you will see that. So it's always recommended to use 30 plus evaluation into the evaluation set. So that will give you better results. So this is just only for demo purpose, but yeah, as an enterprise grade automation agent, you need to have minimum of 30 evaluation under evaluation set. So that's about today's session, and we'll cover the about we are open for the questions now. We'll see what do we have in the chat. And this is about the next session that we have around UiPath Maestro. You can register for the upcoming session. And I hope you got some understanding about how you can create enterprise grade agents, what are the guardrails, how it can be used, and what is context grounding, what are the different methods of using context grounding, using connectors and storage bucket, uh, what should we use in which specific use case. So, and I hope this will help you understand more about uh, evaluation as well, right? So uh, we could not share enterprise solution in the demo, but these demos we have created for you specifically. And if you want to see an enterprise grade solution, right, what we have created in the agent hack, you can register for the agent hack that is happening today. The finale is there, and myself and Faiz, we are there as a finalist, where we have created enterprise grade agent, and you can see it in action as well. If you want to see more about that, we encourage you to join Agent Hack Finale and see it in action. And there you will see a lot of other enterprise grade agents as well. So if you want to see, right, how it is created, I mean, you are encouraged to join that as well.
I've dropped the link in the chat as well. You can join the event directly from the link. Starts at
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. IST.
Yes. So this will start in a couple of hours. Yes. Two. So yeah. So we'll go through the questions now. So Harmeet has asked that if we store an Excel file in storage bucket can be updated via UiPath RPA bot. So you can update it, but the ingestion has to be happen. So I'll show you what do we mean by ingestion. So whenever you create a new, whenever you update your storage bucket file. So let me just show you that. So what happens is the index has to be synced. It has to be refreshed whenever there is an update on the storage bucket files. So you can upload it. There's no issue with that. So let's suppose you have this here, right? So you have this file, and if you update it through a bot, the ingestion has to be updated. And how we do this is in the indexes, you will see the index that you have created to refer to that storage bucket. So let's suppose this one, right? So you will see the injection status is queued, or it's in progress or something. So you will have to create that sync again. So if you manually update it or through bot, you will have to do a sync in order to make it available to the agent, the updated file. Do we have agent units and community agents? I don't see agent units. So you might not see agent units because, and we already covered this part in the first session, that how you still able to run, you can run the agents in community edition. So you cannot deploy, you cannot run your agents in community edition because that requires additional licenses. But in community edition, you have an option to debug it. You can create it, you can debug it. So you do not see any option for AI agents in this community edition. And for enterprises, you will either see agent units or platform unit based on the plan that you have. What safeguarding processes have been put in place to protect information that is processed using ChatGPT? So whatever information that you pass to ChatGPT, right, or to any LLM model that you're using through UiPath Agent Builder platform, if you want to protect the information that you are passing to an LLM, it's recommended to use the guardrails for that, like how we just saw. And in addition, if you don't use guardrails, so your information is being passed to the LLM agent via UiPath, right? So that is something I think you might find something maybe from the UiPath documentation or something, because the interaction is happening directly between LLM model and the UiPath platform, right? So there must be some agreements that have been done already. But if you want to specifically use, if you do not want to share any sensitive information, you can use guardrails for that. And if you do not want to use any publicly available LLM models, you can use an in-house LLM model. Their review might not need to use guardrails in that scenarios. But I mean, it depends on the use case. But yes, you can use your own in-house LLM models as well. Can we use Action Center for escalation and check how it works? So, yes, you can use Action Center. You can create an app in Action Center and then you can use it in your solution, or you can create an app within your solution itself. So there are two ways that you can do it. Unfortunately, there is an issue with my studio web today that I'm working, and I think it's happening for some other users as well, as I noticed. So, uh, but yes, you can create an escalation task. I have some escalation tasks created previously that I can show you if you want. Yes, so Harmeet has asked that 250, 217 out of 250. So in community edition, we get 250 LLM calls. And that is, I guess, daily. So this is what you get daily as you do the debugging and everything, right? So so you see the count, how much is still left there. So yes, you can build the same agent in Community Edition. I'm using Community Edition only. For staging.uipath.com, so you do not have access to, you might not have access to that because that is kept specifically for certain users. And if you already have that access, it's good. You can do some hands-on on uh, the I would say the changes that are coming, right, which is not available for UiPath community that are still in preview. But staging environment is not stable. So I would still recommend you to use the community edition for anything that you would like to do right by hands-on. It's better to use community edition for that. Guardrail do not use agentic AI units, so no, I did not use any agentic AI units. And okay, so I think Suhani has also shared a link to join the hackathon finale. You can click on that link, you can register yourself, or you can also directly join, which is starting in a couple of hours. So one last question that we have is, if I bring my own model into your platform, does it still charge agent units? So answer is yes. If you bring your own model, there will still be some charges, and I think this will be 30% lesser than what are usually there for enterprises which are using publicly available LLM models. So I think it's 30% lesser than what it charges for public LLM models. And you can find more about it on the license link page on UiPath. And we also covered it in the first session of this series about licensing. And so, yes, to answer your question, it does charge yeah, agent units or platform units, which is 30% lesser than the enterprise using publicly available LLMs. All right. So I think it was this session really helped you understand more about what you can do to make your enterprise grade agent. And if you think you want us to um, uh, cover any specific topic, right, you can let us know. We'll incorporate that. We'll try to cover that in the upcoming session. So, and thank you everyone for staying with us in this session for all the three sessions that we had. We look forward to see you in the upcoming sessions as well, and hope to see you in the Agent Tech finale as well as a participant.
Yes, please do join Agent Hack Finale. We have
Oh,
Umesh
okay.
and Faiz as well as finalists, so you don't want to miss their sessions for sure. So please do wish them the best too. And yeah, great way to support is to join and see their innovation for real, and also other teams which are participating. So that will be a great experience for you to see, how these technologies that you are learning is actually being implemented on the ground. So yeah, please do register, join the link, and yes, excited to see you there. Thank you, Umesh. Thank you, Faiz. Go prepare.
Thank you, Rohit.
Done.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Rohit.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Sohani.
Such a short minute. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Umesh.
Thank you.